Let's get salty!
Hey everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and we finally have the update. We know what the nerfs are going to be for standard and wild. We've been speculating, we've been waiting, man, it's taken forever, but we finally know what's getting nerfed for both standard and wild. Is it been worth the wait? Is it going to fix the formats? We'll talk about that. I'm happy about a lot of them. I'm upset about a couple of them. We'll talk about it. And yeah, we have a bunch of changes for both standard and wild, hitting rogue in particular in standard, and then the rest being wild centric. And there's even a buff in there. There's even a buff. We'll probably leave off with that, but let's start off with the standard stuff and then get into the really spicy stuff with the wild. So starting off with standard, there was a bunch of changes to rogue. Rogue has been a menace in the format. Thief rogue, weapon rogue, and those two decks run a lot of these cards, or two of these cards. Starting off with Scabs, the hero card. That's right, Nova's finally, her prophecy, well, I'm the one who overrated it, but still, Nova can rest easy. Scabs has finally been nerfed. Shadowcrafter Scabs going from 7 mana to 8 mana. So it's absolutely one of the most broken hero cards ever made, and now it's still going to be one of the most broken hero cards ever made because it's only going up by 1 mana. However, they don't want this card to be bad. They want it to be a meta player. They made it for a reason. They want it to be powerful, but it's been too powerful. So they're trying to slow it down a little bit to let other decks breathe, catch up, be able to put pressure, maybe lethal people before the Scabs comes down. I would have loved to see the vanish effect go away entirely. I don't think Rogue should have this. They shouldn't have a catch-all board clear in standard or ever, period. It's just never been healthy, and I'm still sticking by that. And the fact it's a proactive board clear where you get 8/4 in stats and pressure, I think it's still too freaking good. This is probably one of the nerfs I'm the least happy about, because 1 mana to this card, it will slow it down and it will give other decks a chance. I just think it's a really toxic, unhealthy card for the game, and I think it limits things going forward, as this card's going to be in standard for another year. So we'll have to wait and see how it plays out, but it is being nerfed to 8. I have a lot of copies of this, so I'm going to be getting some dust, but overall I would have loved to see it go to 9 like Dr. Boom style, or at least, you know, nerf the stealth minions as well, because like 8 attack of uninteractable minions are really hard to deal with. Is not particularly fun to play around. So that's the first change. The next change is another card that's in both Thief and Weapon Rogue, and that's to the Knoll. The Knoll, the 4/5 0 mana 4/5 with Rush. Well, he's not a 4/5 anymore. He is now a 3/5, and he's going to 6 mana. So getting hit in 2 ways, both in attack and mana cost. So it'll be a little bit quick. It'll take a little bit longer to get to 0 mana. Not much longer. This card's still going to be ridiculously cheap with Maestra, and when it comes down, it'll be a little less impactful. I think for me, in a dream perfect world, it would have been a 7 mana 4/5, or it would have been a 6 mana 3/4. Like, I feel like the 5 health is still just a little much, but we saw with the nerf to Corridor Creeper back in the day, that one from a 7 mana 5/5, which was basically a 0 mana 5/5 to a 2/5, and the card was relatively healthy after that. It saw play, but it wasn't like ridiculous, and people stopped complaining about it. So maybe the 1 attack less and the 1 mana more will be enough to slow it down. This is probably one of the better nerfs that I'm seeing, although I still am a little worried that they're going to come down way too early. And I mean, still dealing with 2 0 mana 3/5 knolls on turn 2 would be a bit of a pain, but it'll take a little bit longer to get them to be 0, and hopefully again you slow it down, you make it less aggressive, you let other decks catch up, or you know, the damage you take from it won't pile up as much, and you can, you know, recover later in the game a little bit better. And the last rogue nerf is more to weapon rogue, and that's Cloak of Shadows going from 3 to 4 mana. I just really hate this card. It is just really uninteractive. It's uninteractive by nature, giving your hero stealth. It's going to 4. I mean, it's like Weapon Rogue doesn't pay mana for anything anyways, and they're gonna discount this with their tradable weapon, with preps, with Scabs. It makes it a little less flexible, but overall the effect is still kind of the busted part. I feel like Weapon Rogue is still gonna be insane. I feel like it's still gonna be really good, and I just absolutely loathe that archetype, and I don't want to face it. Like, I can deal with Thief Rogue. It's frustrating to deal with, but I can live with that. But Weapon Rogue, they don't fight for board, they just hit you in the face and then they just hide. It's not fun, and I would have liked to see it hit a lot harder than this, but I mean, it's something. The card's rotating to wild soon, so it's kind of a surprise we saw nerf, period. But hey, here we go. It is nerfed, and at least it's a card that, again, basically all the cards in this list I have asked for in some way, although the ways they've hit it I don't agree with on all of them. Anyways, next we have a mage card. You're gonna be like, yeah, mage getting nerfed. Are you ridiculous? It's tier 3, tier 4. It's not good. Well, that's how toxic Incanter's Flow is, going from 3, originally was 2, now to 4 mana. They're worried about Mizaki Mage if it's given time to breathe by these other nerfs, that Mizaki Mage will just take over. They don't want that. It's very toxic, very uninteractive deck to face. They're willing to kick Mage in the ass some more to keep it back, and hopefully Ping Mage and Big Spell Mage can step up in its place, which hopefully will, maybe it'll have more time with these nerfs that can work, because they're not that far off. But yeah, Incanter's basically it's just there to stop Mizaki Mage from being a thing, and I think it should do the trick. And honestly, this helps Wild out too, although we'll talk about Wild. I don't think Incanter's Flow, regardless of how this is changing Standard, is going to be an issue anyway. So those are the standard nerfs. We'll just talk about, there's one buff that's Standard related. Recaro gains 10 armor now instead of 5. Everything else is the same about Recaro, but Recaro now it gains 10 armor, so the weapon you can attack and you're less likely to die. Plus you can couple it with that new AoE. You play Recaro, you have 10 armor, you can play that spell for 0 mana and presumably clear the board. So Recaro gets a bit of a buff, a weird one in armor, but I like it. It'll work. I think Recaro, again, I don't think it's going to really change things for Control Warrior quite yet, but maybe after rotation when things change up. But there you go, Recaro got buffed. So the wild nerfs, I've been holding it. I've been keeping you guys. What are the wild nerfs? Well, first, Sorcerer's Apprentice is dead. She's dead. She is gone. She is now going to be a meme card. Mark can make her work. This is what I wanted, though. She's now 4 mana, still a 3/2. Everything else is the same, but she's 4 mana, so you can't get her out with like the Drekthar combo. You can't, even with the Ignite combo, she's gonna it's gonna slow that combo down, presumably by 2 turns. But in Wild, that's a huge deal. And yeah, it kills off those decks. She is 4 freaking mana. You can still Exodia with her, but you gotta work for it. You gotta like Emperor with her, or Potion of Illusion. There's a bunch of stuff you can do to make her work. And so the spirit of the card's still there, but her ridiculous toxic ability of just Exoding people on turn 4 and 5 with Flame Wakers or Ignites, that will be gone. And I think that's healthy for the game. She's one of my favorite cards of all time. I have played Sorcerers so much. It's ridiculous. I'm nearing 7,000 mage wins, and a lot of them, a vast majority of them, had her in it. So I'm someone who really loved the card, but I can recognize it was not healthy for the game. It was very frustrating for people, and it was time for her to go. And I could put my bias aside. It's a card that I would not touch because I really like it, but I would also not touch like Leeching Poison back in the day. And again, that card was really unhealthy for the game, and I agree with this change. I rather it than just making spells can't cost less than 1, because since she's not going to be doing anything, period, you can't even meme with her, right? So at least now she's a Mark meme card, and you can still do the old stuff you can do, just not really competitively anymore. The next wild nerf, by the way, there's no bans. There are no bans. Is to Rapid Fire, the Hunter twin spell. It now goes to 2 mana and does 2 a shot. This is one of the suggestions I made. I'm glad they made it. Odd Quest Hunter still exists in Wild, but this was by far the best card in the deck, and it is a huge deal they're losing this. Like, this is one, like, 2 of these 2 rapid fires is 2/3 of your quest completion alone. That deck already doesn't have the greatest burn options. They run a lot of bad cards because there's just not enough, and you can't really slot in something to replace rapid fire. So this deck is going to go down to like tier 2, tier 3, which is fine. Can be a tier 2 or tier 3 deck. It just needs to not be oppressive. The reason they banned the Demon Seed before is because you could nerf the living crap out of it, and while it's still probably going to be oppressive with cards like Crystallizer and all that. So I think this is the perfect nerf for Rapid Fire or for Odd Quest Hunter. You can play it in Even Hunter. It might work out there. It might be a new style of deck, a Burn Even Hunter, and that'll be worth experimenting over. But I love this change. I think it's perfect, and I'm very happy about it. But the change I'm not happy about, I don't think will make almost any difference, and I'm not surprised they're making this change. I didn't think they'd ban the quest because they love Pirate Warrior. So yes, raid the docks, the second part of the quest, I think create a distraction, will now require 3 pirates instead of 2. That's it for the change for this. That in Wild is basically a joke. It will basically maybe on average slow you down half a turn to a turn, maybe. You have so many 1-drops you spam in that deck. You have Ankar. It's just, you got to play 8 instead of 7. It's just not going to make a big difference. I expect Pirate Warrior to be a meta player tier 1, but it does slow it down. And by getting rid of Odd Quest Hunter allows for a lot more counters to Pirate Warrior that were being held down by Odd Quest Hunter. So I think they're taking that chance that they feel like the counters to Warrior will be freed up more. That's their idea. That's what I see here. They don't want to ban the quest because they know people love playing Pirate Warrior. I mean, I see it all the time. How many of my opponents play Pirate Warrior? I don't think this is the best nerf, but I think for what they're going for, I get it. I don't love it, but it probably will work out. It probably will work out. I still think the meta will be very Pirate Warrior based, but again, there's plenty of ways to counter it with like even lock. You can play Cthulhu Druid, free Shaman. There are plenty of ways to beat it, and now those strategies, or at least a good amount of them, don't lose to Hunter anymore because it won't be nearly as prolific, as well as APM and Exodia mages going away. You can again tech more for aggro and make those matchups better. So Wild will change a crazy amount. This might be a good enough nerf on the Warrior quest. I know I said I didn't like it, but I get it, and I'm willing to let it see how it goes. But I just hope they keep an open mind that maybe if Pirate Warrior is still too good, that they're like, okay, we'll ban it. But we'll see how it plays out. But overall, I think this is a great balance patch. One of the best ones we've seen in a while, hitting all the key things in both Standard and Wild. And we'll have to wait and see how it plays out, of course. But I'll be positive about this one. I'll look at the glass half full on this one, and I'll probably go over some other stuff on the patch notes. There's mercenaries and some other things like that. We'll talk about that maybe in another video, but you guys know the nerfs. They'll go live next Tuesday. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.